Hello and welcome to another BookTube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books, and from
David.
From
The Beardy Adventures.
The Beardy Adventures, of which David hasn't made a video for ages, but
yes.
I think by the time this video goes up,
there might be a return.
There might be a vlog. There might be a vlog that David's put up. We know we haven't done screen time for ages. We just haven't done it, have we? We've been really busy.
Yeah.
Not only with like not being able to film it, but just not really watching much that it was worth talking about.
Because of Love Island, mainly.
Yeah, if we're being honest, it's because of Love Island, and I thought we can't talk about Love Island 2 months in a row.
No.
Might even have been longer than that. No, it's 7 weeks, 2 months in a row.
7
long weeks. But it's over now, and we've actually had a chance to watch some other stuff now. So what we thought we would do, we would, instead of, excuse me leaning across here, instead of do monthly screen times, we would just sort of like now label these sporadically as we've watched things. So we're going to talk about sort of recent things we've watched. Same as before, always a film, always a TV programme, always a YouTube video or channel, and we're also going to start talking about podcasts. So it feels a bit cheeky to call it screen time because podcasts don't go in the screens, do they? They go in the, although you do look at it on a screen.
No, you don't.
So we thought we'd do that. So we're going to start with talking about our favourite films of the month. Do you want to start with yours?
I'll go with mine first.
David will go with his, and it's one we saw at the cinema.
One we saw at the cinema, and it was Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
So we say favourite films of this month. It's not. This is the last film we saw together at the cinema, I believe.
Yeah, we think so. It's either this or Wonder Woman.
And what did you like about it, David? Tell me a plot.
So
summary.
This carries on with the Guardians of the Galaxy as it leaves from the first one. And so they are now becoming a lot more of a closer knit family. And then it's just them getting up to mischief, really. And then I can't remember, but it was all these gold people, and they got into trouble with some gold people who were trying to kill them. I can't remember the name of them. I do apologise. But you've got a lot of side stories. So you also had the introduction of Star-Lord's father, played by Kurt Russell. And then and so their bond together. And you also had Michael Rooker, who was possibly the best person in there, as Yondu. Who
That's what I couldn't think of his name. I was sitting there thinking, what's his name? But that was, for me, that was the best bit of the whole film, like Yondu's story.
Yeah. And so Yondu, because he raised Star-Lord, he kind of felt like his father figure. But then him and Rocket, the little raccoon guy voiced by Bradley Cooper, they kind of formed a bond, and that was really good. And then you got a bit of love story with the Mantis girl and Drax, played by Batista. So there's lots of like little tiny stories.
Yeah, there was a lot more to it.
The worst one for me was the actual Chris Pratt and the father story. I didn't quite like that.
Do you know what it is? I think it is as well, David. Sadly, you and I have both gone off Chris Pratt a bit, haven't we?
Yeah, only very slightly.
We found out that he hunts for fun. So he hunts animals for fun and kills animals for fun. And we haven't really been able to look upon him favourably from then.
No, which
and
is
I
a
feel
shame.
like I went into this film feeling like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy this as much as I did the first one. Whether or not it's a better film than that, I don't know. But my view.
No,
was
I still really enjoyed it. Like the music.
I tell you what, the music's
brilliant.
very good, and the opening scene.
Where they're fighting a big like tentacle monster, and it's to ELO's Mr. Blue Sky. And it follows Baby Groot. And the battle's going on behind him as he's just wandering around. That's possibly the best bit of the
that
film.
was very good.
And it's good, and it doesn't really lead on to the Infinity War, but obviously we know they're going to be involved in the Infinity War. And there was nothing really mentioned about the stone, nothing too much. And because there's a lot of post-credit scenes, there was actually 5, but none that really linked in.
They didn't feel like Marvel post-credit scenes to me. They just felt like
they were just little fun ones.
Really.
But in the last one, they was all just kind of fun ones anyway.
Yeah.
But they will all be in Infinity War, which I'm looking forward to. I'm trying not to think about Chris Pratt as being a hunter, because he is a nice, I really like him. But that has tainted him a little bit in my eyes. But yes, so that was my favourite film of the month.
So my favourite film of the month, and guys, we've got a new medium to show you this. This is in a cinema box.
Oh, amazing! Amazing awful.
Turn it on. Mine was Hidden Figures, which is a video we watched. Which is a film we watched on Blu-ray last night. The only thing I will say about this is that this bit of the back's broken and it keeps coming off, and it's really effing annoying. So now we know it's Hidden Figures. No, I'll pop it down there. So Hidden Figures we watched on Blu-ray last night. I wish we'd seen it at the cinema. However, I still absolutely adored it. It tells the tale. It's a true story about 3 black women in the 60s who had who were the first women, black women in NASA to do certain things. So we've got a character played by Janelle Monáe, who is amazing in it. She wants to become an engineer, and they keep sort of moving the bench post. So for every time she gets the sort of qualifications and things that she needs to become an engineer, they say, oh no, now you need this. And the most recent thing they've done for her is to tell her that she needs to have a degree or from a all-white college, and she goes to court and is able to go to an all-white college.
But she's only allowed to do it at night though.
At night school, and she becomes the first. And she makes an amazing, empowered, passionate speech in the courtroom, which just left me in tears. And she becomes the first to do that. It also follows Octavia Spencer's character, who she's playing the role of a supervisor but isn't getting paid for the supervisory role, and she knows that they're getting this big massive supercomputer,
the IBM
computer that's going to come in and be able to do something like 24,000 sums in a minute or a second even. And she trains herself up and her the women that she works with, the black women she works with, in order to look after this machine and keep it running and things like that. So she trains herself up ahead of knowing that
there's a really cool bit in it where so there's these two guys who are trying to program it and they can't, and there's like a little switchboard where they place it and it doesn't get any reaction. She goes in, she goes, that's in the wrong place, and she moves it on her own, and then all the things start whirling around. It was really good.
And then I would say the main thread follows Catherine, who is an amazing mathematician. She's been given such amazing opportunities when she was younger to go to a school where they're teenagers, and she is like, I think she's like 9 or 10, isn't she? And she's got an amazing, incredible brain, and she's working this sort of computer job, and she gets moved into a bigger department where there is no black women working there. There's only one woman working there, who is the PA.
Who you made a good spot.
Yeah, it's Miss Honey from Matilda.
And
awesome. She is just incredible, and it deals with her having to deal with racism and sexism, and it's just such an empowering, amazing film that I would watch it again and again and again, and I adored it. I was crying from literally like the moment it came on till the moment it finished. And
Kevin Costner's really good in it, isn't he? I like it. And Jim Parsons, he's not a particularly nice person in it,
but yeah, it was really, really good, and I would just urge everyone everywhere to watch it. I really, really loved it. So, television. What's your favourite television?
So I've gone
program?
for a Netflix guy, and it's called, I don't know if any people might have seen it, but it's called Last Chance U, and this is in its second season. And it follows the...
You're being so cute.
Yeah.
It is called Last Chance U, and it is in its second season, and it follows... You're very cute.
So it follows a community college team called East Mississippi. So this small town only has about 700 people population, and this school is known for the most like college-type players to go on and actually join the NFL. And one of the reasons for this is that the reason this school is nicknamed Last Chance U is that any kind of promising up and coming American football players that kind of do wrong, i.e. like drugs or go to prison, things like that. So they get chucked out of their school and then they're allowed to come here, and this is their last chance. And they're coached by Buddy Stevens, who's a bit of a hard man. Not a very he's obviously clearly a great coach because they've won lots of championships and stuff. But he's not a very heart-to-heart man. He doesn't really know his players well. But so you just follow their season on a whole, and it's just brilliant. It's really good fun to watch, and it's nice. I'm not a great fan of American football, but I really like following sports documentaries.
You do, don't you, in sports
and
films?
This is really
in
good.
fact, if anyone knows of any good sports films or documentaries, you should leave them down below because you love them, don't you?
I love them. They're my absolute favourite things to watch. I just like to learn about, as you said earlier, I like to like the backstage and the politics of it all, and just watching them train and what they have to put themselves through. And there's some of their personal stuff, like one of the lads who's their star quarterback in his past school, he actually punched a woman in a bar. And but this was only when he was like 16, 17, so he went to prison, and you used to watch him now, and you got the lady Vicky something, I've forgotten her name, who's kind of like their support officer. Like you wouldn't even know that he was in like that. So he obviously clearly was, I'm assuming, drunk, and he just made a huge mistake, and he's paid for it. And yeah, it's just a really a great story to watch over the course of a whole season, and I love it.
Good, I'm pleased. Well, what I have picked as my favourite TV is something that David and I have both been very much enjoying, and I'm sure you'll agree this has also been one of your favourites.
Oh my God, like we've kind of,
And
I don't know
that is
how we haven't watched it before.
Taskmaster. So Taskmaster is on the UK TV channel
Dave.
and it is a comedy comedy panel show. They have a panel of comedians, 5 comedians, and they change for each series. And it's headed by Greg Davis and his. What are you laughing at?
Just the thought of Greg Davis.
Yeah, Greg Davis and the guy who sort of come up with this concept of this programme, Alex Horne. And they set really odd, weird, small, large, all sorts of different tasks for this panel of comedians to complete. And they're competing against each other. Now, they don't see the other people do it until they're all sat there on the panel watching. I've just scratched my leg on the board. No. But it's so much fun.
It's fun.
It's really fun to watch. I like treasure hunting, and it's a bit like Crystal Maze, but with people you know.
Zany Crystal
like a zany Crystal Maze. And I love treasure hunting, and I love like escape rooms and little puzzles and things like that. And we watch it with glee, don't we? Saying, what? So for instance, one of them would be like, get this pea to travel the furthest
on a red carpet.
On the red carpet. So some people are just like throwing this pea down a red carpet. Al Murray threw the pea onto the red carpet, wrapped it up, took it in a taxi for an hour around, and then brought it back.
And then unrolled it, and
then unrolled it, and the pea was still on there.
And so he took
won.
the pea a long time.
So you have to they've got some really good things in there, and we've just been loving it, haven't we? We're about to finish the 5th season.
Fourth season. But we haven't watched 1 and 2. We kind of watched 3.
Yeah.
On as it was on Dave, and then we watched the rest of the seasons. We're on catch up. Season 4, then we'll watch 1 and 2.
But it's just really fun watching,
easy
and
watch.
and a good easy watch, and we've
lots
been really
of
enjoying
lulls.
it. We've been really laughing.
It's quite. I find it tough nowadays to actually have some like laugh out loud moments, but on there, always guaranteed one.
And which leads us on to our favourite YouTube channels that we have and videos that we've been enjoying this month. So David, would you like to go first?
I am.
If you just hold the back of the box, then it won't fall out. The batteries keep falling out the back.
So the YouTuber that I have been watching this month, and for a number of months, is called David Dobrik. Now, he is an American guy, and I'm guessing, because I wasn't there at the height of where he began, I think he was a very popular Viner, him and his group of chums. Now, because Vines now, like, unofficially don't exist. Apparently, like, there is...
They closed the app down, didn't they?
Yeah. And so now they're on YouTube. So he does like pretty much almost a daily video, about 4 or 5 minutes long, and he just does some silly things on it, like they chuck wine bottles around, and then once he cut his hand open.
Oh, that does sound silly and fun.
It was silly, wasn't it? And
it does not sound like something I would enjoy.
And there's things like they get like he's a very, very popular guy. He's got a few millions of YouTubers, and he gets one of the latest ones they're doing is Jason Nash, one of his good friends, goes to fans' houses and then say that they caught their son smoking weed, and they film that, and then it's a hilarious reaction on
this
that.
Sounds
Look at your
shit.
face. That's why you don't watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear about your one.
My one's great. So my one is a recent series that has been started by the wonderful Lauren from Reads and Daydreams. She's recently started a series where her and friends will be doing walks in London. The first one was with Jen Campbell, who is also a very dear friend of mine, and they walked through Regent's Canal. Did you know there's a part of Regent's Canal where you walk in between London Zoo?
Yeah, I did know that.
Oh, you did know that? Have you been?
No, I'm not really joking.
I didn't bloody know. And one side there was like wild dogs, and the other side there was like the aviary of all the tropical birds. And it's not the zoo, it's just along Regent's Canal. Yeah. It was really, really enjoyable. You get to see some beautiful parts of London. They also go via Camden and show you two bookshops in Camden, and then end up in Daunt Books, which is a bookshop that I'm desperate to go to, as all the books are arranged by country, not by author or genre, and yeah, it was just a really, really enjoyable video to watch. I'm definitely going to go back and watch it. I think, David, maybe you and I should go to London and do that walk. It looked really, really fun. And
I'll do it. I'll just do it on my own now.
Oh, David will do it because he works in London now. And yeah, I just loved it. I can't wait to watch the rest of the series. I can't wait to see what else she's got planned. And yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Definitely urge you to go and see it. You see some beautiful scenery. Like, Lauren and Jen are always an absolute pleasure to listen to. And you also see some bookshops and things like that. It's just really, really lovely and enjoyable video. I watched it like this. just enjoying it. And then the last section of today, we're going to be talking about podcasts that we've enjoyed. Do you want to go first? You've gone first every time.
I'm going first every time. Let's not
stop that. Let's keep it flowing.
So one of my favourite most podcasts ever is called the IGN.
Oh, favourite most podcasts ever.
Yeah. It's called the IGN UK Podcast.
What does IGN stand for, please, David?
I don't actually know.
I thought you would know.
International Gaming Nation, maybe?
Shall we have a look? Oh, Imagine Games Network.
Imagine Games Network. So that's what it means. And so this follows a group of guys and a gal, and they do a weekly podcast that comes out on Fridays, like Friday afternoons, and they just talk about games, TV, film, Netflix, the occasional books, and cinema, and it's just good fun. And they're all a bit cheeky. It's a bit sweary, and I just like it.
I'd never listened to it before, but yesterday on a way home from a walk, David said, "Oh, I've been listening to this," and I said, "Oh, let's listen to it." And it is good fun. They're very comrade. Like there's a nice like inclusive feel about it. Like they obviously all get on very well, but you don't feel excluded from that. You feel very much involved in that. And the bit they were talking about was that recent film that's come out, that Annabelle film, that's a horror film.
One of them was talking
about an experience he went on, and you just felt very much involved in it. And it's really like they seem like a nice group of guys. And if you're hearing about films and things like that you want to hear, then it's great.
I mean, they do lots of reviews.
They spent a lot of time talking about Game of Thrones at the beginning, which you even sat through, even though you don't like Game of Thrones.
Every week they kind of focus on, they do like a 10-15 minute thing. Like so last week they was talking about Mad Men, because Gav, the Welsh guy, who's my favourite one on there, he's adores Mad Men, and the boss wasn't in that week, so he just spoke about Mad Men for 10 minutes. And they do a weekly game between them all called Keyword Countdown, and so Gav and people also send them in. So they send in 5 films, because on IGN, how you describe a film, so they have keywords on there, and some of them are like quite obvious to the film, and some of them are like really odd and out of the blue. And so he reads them out. He reads out these 10 keywords, and then they have to guess what film it is. And it's always good. I'm okay. Sometimes like I've gotten one on the very first one, and that was a bit of luck, and that was exciting for me. It's a bit like when you get a 9-letter word on Countdown. You kind of get that feeling, but that's always a good game to get involved with. And they're actually doing their 400 podcasts at the end of August, and they're going to be doing it live in London. And as I'm now a commuter Londoner, I'm hopefully going to go and watch them. I'm just waiting for them to release ticket details and stuff. So if any of you are a fan of them or are going, then let me know. And that's it. That's mine.
Okay, cool. So mine is The Archers, which is something that I've mentioned before in my favourites videos. But this isn't favourites. This is Screen Time and Podcast. Screencast time.
Screencast?
Yeah.
That could work.
Screencast.
What do you think? Screencast?
Screencast.
If you think of any names, let us know.
And The Archers is Britain's longest running soap opera, and it is on the radio. It is on Radio 4. There is an episode every day apart from Saturday. They last about 15 minutes, like 12 minutes probably, and it follows the inhabitants of a fictional village called Ambridge, which is a farming town. And the ins and outs of their lives, from really small trivial matters to of like a cat dying. That's not a trivial matter, but that sort of thing. To like at the moment they've got this big restaurant opening, which is chucking out a charity that's been doing work there, which has been feeding people who haven't got much money with leftovers from restaurants and stock that supermarkets are getting rid of or don't have anything to do with. So yeah, there's loads going on. It's really enjoyable. It takes a while to get into it because you go into it and there's no sort of like catch up of this is who this is who that is. You just have to get into it. And I can go for a while without listening to it. For instance, like if I've been off work, I listen to podcasts on the way to work. So if I go to work, if I don't go to work for a while, like I've just had a long weekend, I always have loads to catch up on, and because they're only 12 minutes, I listen to them on 1.5, so I can listen to them in about 9 minutes, so I can get about 4 episodes done on the way in, and it's just really lovely, cosy, enjoyable listening, and I would really, really urge it. They also do an omnibus episode, which you can listen to. Yeah, they air that on the Sunday, but you can download the podcast of the omnibus too, but I don't. I download the individual episodes.
I remember listening to the omnibus on Sundays when I was a kid, going out with my mum and dad.
Do the theme
to some
tune.
Sort of garden
the
centre.
theme tune is delightful. It's just lovely. Do you think you'll be getting into it now you're going to be commuting?
I'll give it a try.
Yeah, I think you need to give yourself like a good week or so to actually get into it and work out who's who. But yeah, really, really enjoyable. Love the Archers. Let me know if any of you guys love the Archers too. So there we go. That is the new episode of new episode of Screen Time plus podcast. Screencast time. Is that going to be acceptable? Screencast. I feel like Screencast would be the name of a podcast talking about things that you've seen on screen, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me know if you have enjoyed any of these things that we've mentioned today, or anything you might think we might enjoy off the back of some of our favourites. And we'll see you all again next time for another Screen Time cast episode.